Hello and welcome to ThinkFwd. My name is Spencer Burke, your host for ThinkFwd. Today we're together with Dan Merchant, the filmmaker of Lord Save Us From Your Followers. An independent film. It's playing right here.
Right here.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful inner city neighborhood in Portland, Oregon. It's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Well, absolutely. Now, as an independent filmmaker, you've had to have your ups and your downs. This was out for a little bit, then back, and now...
Well, you know what it was? We've had this weird animal on our hands here. As it turns out, people who go to church find Lord Save Us From Your Followers very meaningful and impactful. People who don't go to church find it very meaningful and impactful, and it's a funny, entertaining, moving 90-minute documentary. So what happened was we kept finding that it'll play on a college campus. Film festivals love it. Churches are asking us to come, and we're like, well, let's see what happens in a theater. And so we put it in a theater a year ago to kind of test it and see if we could get the all secular audiences that have been enjoying it at film festivals and the all Christian audience that have enjoyed it at churches or Christian colleges or whatever. What happens if you put everybody together in a theater? Well, then they all love it together. So we're like, all right, and then it takes time to raise money and figure out all the obstacles to overcome. So then we released it out to theaters again in September, and really we did a 1-week test a year ago, and then we were in I don't know, 15 screens or something around the country, and we're looking to launch on DVD in March. And we're I just got back from a Christian college in the Midwest and showed it to 800 people at a shot, and great conversation. It's a conversation starter. It's really the deal.
They must be resonating with something. And this, right now it's like you can hardly publish a book or put out a film that doesn't have that, they love Jesus but they hate the church, or and everybody's almost like, oh, it's a bashing, now it's popular, whatever.
Right.
But there's got to be a core message here that's resonating with
Sure. People. Well, I think part of with Lord Save Us From Your Followers, what we've done, and maybe what's a little bit different, is that we're not bashing the church. The movie's made by one of those followers who's going, I got some questions, guys. Are we sure this is important? Are we sure this is a hill to die on? Because Jesus over here has got this whole love God, love your neighbor business. Why isn't that the most important thing in our world again? And those questions resonate with people because they're feeling the same thing. They're like, if Christ is about self-sacrificial love and he's about, when Jesus talks about how he's going to divide, it's what did you do for the least? That's how he tells us we're going to divide. So I'm over here plagiarizing Jesus. I got some questions, and whether you go to church or not, there's clearly, I believe that God is where all truth springs from. So people recognize it when they hear it, and sometimes the way we've been saying it, especially in recent years, not too connected with grace. Truth without grace is a bit like a bulldozer. But when you put it with grace, people go, oh, I understand. This is for my own well-being, or oh, I understand. It takes on a different shape, and particularly when we get away from this sort of kind of colonial, I just want to save you, Spencer, but now I don't have any more time for you. You're saved? Now I'm going to go to somebody. It's about relationship, and I think that's the message of Lord Save Us, that it's not us, it's not them, it's we.
We're in it together. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So in a sense, those who are like, oh, you're speaking my language, I'm not the only crazy one out there, but then there might be another group like, wow, well, wait, what kinds of words could you encourage those who feel like they're really trying hard, but it just gets harder and harder and harder for them to run this game or whatever,
Yeah, well, I think, again, I go back to plagiarize Jesus. It's like, well, how did Jesus do it? The biggest objection that I get from people who are really trying hard to do it is like, well, when do we stand up for the truth then? And it's like, no, see, that's what this is. This is standing up for the truth. And this whole idea that somehow you've been empowered to condemn me because I make mistakes, go find that. It's not there. That's not what we're talking about. Particularly when you're talking about relationships with people outside the church. It's like what Paul says when he goes to Ephesus in Acts 19. For those of you, it's from the Bible in case you've seen it. And he basically says, look, you don't have to tear down this culture that's here. We just have to build something beautiful and true. And what I found with this journey that I've taken for about 5 years, making Lord Save Us from Your Followers, is that everybody seems to respond to loving kindness, to compassion, to understanding, to grace. These are things that doesn't matter what, I don't want to talk about doctrine with people. I don't care. Do the things that Jesus seemed to show us how to do, and then stand back and watch the weird stuff happens, because that's what happens. And it's been beautiful to see, I've been hugged by more weeping atheists than I can count, because they sense this lack of connection to the Creator and this lack of connection to each other, and we know it's wrong. Whether it's a conscious level or not, we know something's wrong. And there's something about the film, I've been told, that kind of helps articulate what we've been struggling with. And we had a screening at a big conservative Republican megachurch, and during the Q&A, a woman came up to the microphone. She'd been crying. She tries a couple of times to speak into the mic and can't quite get it going, and then she just like explodes, and she goes, "I knew it! I knew God was love! I just knew it!" And then she realizes she's yelling in church, and she doesn't know what to do, and she sits down, and the 700 people there start applauding. And so it's this permission-giving thing to go, look, let's quit picking sides. Everybody settle down for a second. And those of us who care about what Jesus said, let's make sure we're on point. And for those of you who have no idea who Jesus is or what the heck he was talking about, let's try again. We will let us show you again something beautiful and true, and we'll give you something to say yes to, as opposed to me trying to sledgehammer you. Right.
Well, and don't you think that a lot of people have kind of connected with it because of the medium? It's almost like the movie house has become, the transcendent place for spiritual messages. So people are more open to this medium too, to hear some things they couldn't hear preached at them.
I think that's right. I think the thing that's interesting about film is it allows you this safe distance to sneak up on the material. Because there's people that say things to me like the first half hour of the movie, I was sitting back up there going, yeah, you know what? There are some judgmental Christians out there that don't do it right. Yeah, that's true. Uh-oh, I'm one of them. But the medium of film allows you to and you're being entertained. I mean, it's an entertaining, funny movie. There's people, famous people you recognize in the movie, all that kind of stuff. But then before it's over, you have this way of connecting with the movie, but it's on your terms. And one thing that's fascinating that I think the movie must work like a mirror is that I've probably heard 38 different favorite parts. Right? So people go, oh, this part or this part or this part. I'm like, why are there so many favorite parts? And I think it's because everybody's in a different place.
So that favorite part?
There's a thing that I steal from the Pope and Tony Kriz and Donald Miller, where I set up a confession booth at a gay pride event, and I confess to the folks that come and visit, all of whom happen to be gay, because that's mostly who goes to gay pride, and just the experience of frankly, it was a social experiment to test God's grace. Those people, I kind of expected them to yell at me all day. I expected them to ask me how I voted on things. And what we got instead was a conversation. I gave them an apology that was sincere and heartfelt, and behold, God's grace knocks all these walls down. And they wept, and I wept, and we talked about life, and we made friends, and it was weird. But it happened because we were like obedient with what Jesus talks about first, and then something else happens.
And the power of listening.
Oh boy, that's what I keep saying to people. I mean, what I've discovered for myself is that a conversation to me requires three parts. It requires listening, it requires a humility, which maybe is another dimension to the listening. It's like I'm actually listening and I care about what you think, and I'm not waiting for you to take a breath so I can correct you. So that takes a humility, and then to be in this conversation without an agenda. I'm talking with you because I care about you and I like you and I'm interested in what you have to say. Not hurry up and get through with your whole deal so I can hurry up and save you before lunch is over. And that's it. And if we're missing out, we're missing out when we're not open to the conversation. We think it's them who's missing out, but it's us. You know.
Well, and sometimes I think we've in the past tried to convince people, more because of our own insecurity. It's like, I don't know, I believe it, so you've got to believe it, and versus the sense of an inter-center of saying, I know who I am, I'm secure in that, now I want to learn from you as well.
That's a great point. I mean, I believe that God's truth is as real as the movie theater standing behind us. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. So where does my desperation really come from? It maybe comes from I'm not really trusting in what I believe, or I don't really know for sure what I believe. that must be it, or else I'd act different.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be so squirrely with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you just can't see it. Well, I'll keep talking. I'll keep talking, and then maybe, you know, maybe I'm saying it wrong. Maybe I'm not really showing it, and all you're getting are unkind words from me, and that's why you can't see it. So, you know, I think you're right. I think what we believe is it has to be manifest in how we walk through this life.
Well, I'm looking forward to more storytelling. Thanks, man. Yeah,
Thanks, Mitch. I appreciate it.